Reusable data to make business or transparency. Ideological, I think, is the best possible scenario to any democracy. It should be a transparency fully, as much as the law allowed you. Then the second part, in terms of business, right? It's a very new business. I mean, we are talking about data a long time ago, but concerning regulation, concerning consciousness, of the public administration, consciousness of the private business, consciousness of the society, of the value of the data. I don't think the responsibility of cities to open data concerning business is important. Concerning transparency, yes.
It's so much embedded in the core of an institution, how they manage data and how manage transparency, that suddenly open data becomes the default.
When you open data, you open for transparency, democracy, and then you open, to reuse this data or to dynamically reinforce the economy. This is pure capitalism. This is economy, right? The big companies play a role, create a new business, a new intelligence that can give back to the society in terms of business, and a combination for a city council to build up, intelligence platform for a city, like Barcelona, or even smaller. And it's a combination of €1 million just for one city. Data is not really produced only in one place, so it's not the matter of the data production, is the matter of the data collection. That's the difference. You have India, China, Japan, of course, state, of course, Europe. But it's not only a state, right? Here, many countries had to move. India, it's amazing, how far they are with that. Those countries, not who produce data, who can collect, edit, transform, and to reinvest into the system, the data, as a plus value. I have data, I can provide data to the city council. Once again, any kind of relationship with the city council or with the administration is through competition, because data can be produced whatever we are as a human being. But the collection, the editing of the data, the reuse of the data, the normalization of the data, and to have the tools and the people who has the capacity to reuse this data and to convert or transform this data into insights, into a case study, into business, monetize, and to get money out of that, that's not so easy. That's the key point. The most edited, organized, and qualitative data you introduce into the system, the best.
What it means making data available. It's hard to expect a regular citizen to make use of that data. You need the engagement, and that means that you need to actually go and pick from people a specific interest into looking at that data.
If you tell me, those territory who has advanced the most concerning open data, regulation, data technology, management, and so on, they will really speed up and will tell you yes.
And in there is what also nowadays I think many open data portals suffer, which is that you have people with interest in knowing something, you have the data there, but you need a lot of resources to actually make this data meaningful for them. You don't have the capacities as a community, you don't have the capacity yourself as an individual to understand data.
I think completeness of data is essential for making decisions. If the data is incomplete, it's hard to make decisions or make statements or use it for analysis. And the continent of Africa is missing so much data, just even on death and birth and climate change, issues around climate, issues around justice. And I think we really need to pay attention to how that missing data means their voices are often not heard for or represented. Often climate change models, let's say, fill in or synthesize the gaps in data so you can see a map of the world and where like temperatures are rising. And I also think we need to advocate for then these places where we see missing gaps in the data sets.
When we started a project like a Smart Citizen back in 2012, led by Tomás Díaz, director of FabLab Barcelona, big things we were trying to promote is that the smart city was not something that should be promoted aside from citizens, not just because the city is built by citizens, but actually also because we had already citizens that were familiar with digital technologies. Or we wanted to show in the Smart Citizen that citizens could be part of the smart city infrastructure. It's a way of actually creating a collective awareness movement about what we are doing with data.
I think we should start by thinking, what is the problem we seek to address and why do we seek to address it? And then think about, well, what data exists already to help us understand this problem and what data is missing. You know, my digital Matatus project is just like surprising that there was no data on the bus system, like no data, even a map of where these vehicles went. And, you know, having that data in the form of a visual representation, a map is super important, but just having it for all kinds of planning purposes. And, you know, really that helps, you know, by identifying that problem. Sometimes we identify the problem after, right? And then we don't have the data. And we can only be responsive to facial recognition stuff that's going on right now. I mean, this idea that you're collecting people's faces on the street and recording them just because it might be useful sometimes seems maybe not beneficial. And that's why cities are saying, we don't want this technology. We don't want it. One, because we don't know the potential harms. We're worried about all kinds of privacy issues. So
you don't need to deploy certain technologies on a city if the citizens who live in it already own that technology or could be part of the deployment. More than a need for deploying a lot of sensors, there's a need to create proper models. When we talk about environmental models, I don't agree with that. I don't think we need to pollute the cities with sensors, especially because of the environmental impact this could have. Rethinking of it, how the public infrastructure works and where the citizen is and what this active role the citizen could have.